What's going on, YouTube? It has been a long time since I ever did a video, but I'm into a new hobby now. As you can see, it is motorized bicycles. This one is my Zeta 4040. I probably have at least 500 miles on this. It's on the Huffy No Luso 2019. It's been a great bike. It is a Walmart bike. There's going to be some cheap parts. I had to put another crank in here, and the pedal stripped out right here, and both the threads on the pedal and the crank were trashed. It actually fell out. So after that, I got the CNC sprocket adapter. I recommend these. If you're doing a motorized bicycle, do the adapters. Do not do the sprag and put that shit on your frickin' spokes. Don't do it. It's going to tear apart your rim. I learned the hard way. And this was my Trek. This was my first build I ever did. And here's the wheel. 3 spokes busted out. Now, I did have a sprocket adapter. The spacer's still right there on the hub. But what happened was, here's a little hint for anybody going into this little hobby. Here's my China doll, strictly China doll motor. Still runs, still good. Just blew the bike up, so. These tensioners, do not use this spring. Because when you bump start it, or mine happened when I was going about 28 down the road, the chain binds up. And of course what happens then, you come to a screeching halt. And I threw out my rim on that. So if you're going to use that tensioner, now like on a mountain bike, sometimes this style tensioner doesn't go straight. So you'll run through tensioners because it's running like cockeyed. So if you're going to use that, you have to not use a spring. It has to be a fixed tension. So basically, either you gotta take a piece of solid wire. You gotta somehow keep it tight and it not be variable. You have to take that variable out of it. Other than that, those tensioners are amazing. I've been sticking with this style only because it's worked. As long as you make sure your shit's tight, all the bolts are good, you shouldn't have an issue. With anything with these bikes, it's constant tinkering. Constant. This one I really haven't had to do much tinkering with. I put water, fuel in it, stripped the motor and everything off the bike, went through it, cleaned it out, put new rings in it, and now it runs better than ever. But I went with the cheaper head. I didn't get a Fred head. It seems to do just fine. It was not warped. A lot of people got warped heads from this company. I had no issues. I have a pipe for this one, but number one, it's just too loud. I don't want to piss anybody off. And actually, when I put this one back on, it runs better and has more power with that pipe. It does have the sleeper mod in that pipe. There's really no restriction in that pipe, but it's a little quieter, a little more tolerable. Got the knockoff DeLorean carb, or Delardo, my bad. Really, that's all I did to this bike. It's got a 36 tooth sprocket. Clips at about 28 miles an hour. It's, I love it. That's my daily bike. Now this is my new build. Now, anybody wanting to go with a 79cc, this is the Monster 90 from gasbike.net. You're going to have to modify several things, okay? Number one, everybody wants to tear apart the motor to do a governor delete, you don't need to. The spring right here, see your throttle pulls, and then it pulls your governor arm. And the spring is so when it gets to that certain point, it can come back. All you gotta do is put a solid wire right here, and there you go. Done it on many engines, never had an issue as long as your throttle cable's set up properly. But I've already test drove this. It does work. There's as far, you're gonna have to get the wide crank, obviously. That's a given. You're gonna have to adjust that to your bike. I can't stress this enough. All of these bolts have been upgraded with stainless steel bolts. And you cannot get these at Home Depot. Don't even try. They do not have the thread pattern. It takes, I believe it was quarter by 28. And Home Depot only goes up to quarter 20. So, another thing you're going to have to do, upgrade this. It needs to be longer. The one they give you is not long enough. It only gets like 3 threads on there, and I'm not sure if that's safe for a clutch. So you take your chances if you want to do it. But I upgraded that one to a longer one. I Loctited all of the lockers, so I don't have to worry about that. The one issue I am having is the drive sprocket on the rear of the transmission. It binds a little bit. I imagine it's just because I got to stretch out the chain still, and that sprocket has to wear in. But it is not a direct, beautiful, nice, tight, right fit. It does work, but it's not smooth. I will be upgrading the plug eventually. It works right now. I got the blue, actually. That's my favorite part of this whole bike. The CNC, same one as that one. And if you're doing a coaster brake beach cruiser, or any bike with a coaster brakes, you're going to have this. I had a Chinese one, and it did not work. Did not work whatsoever. The hole right here wasn't big enough. It was crushing my coaster bearing. Yeah, you're going to have to get this one. I highly recommend it. I think it was by a company it was a weird name. It started with an S, and it was like Scythia's or something like that. On Amazon. Love it. It's like $30, $30-something dollars, but it's worth it. Number one, it's going to save your wheels, and they're just, they're amazing. I love them. Recommend them. If you're doing a motorized bicycle and you're doing a sprag, it's got to be because you're in a bind. I would never do a sprag gear. They send me a 40, right there, actually, over there. You can kind of see it right in that paper. There's a 44 tooth sprocket in there with the sprag gears laying over there on the floor. I do not use them. They are junk. They work, but it's not good for the bike. So yeah, this is my new build. And one other thing that you're gonna have to do. I did want to mention this because I did the stupid thing of overreacting. When I first put this chain on, a lot of people said, "Oh, you have to add a link." I never had to add a link at all. These are slotted. All 4 mounts for the transmission plate are slotted, and I didn't notice what that was for right away. But what it's for is to tension this chain. Now, right now, I got it just with a little bit of play in it. Perfect tension. It ain't going nowhere. This chain fit perfectly. The sprockets work perfectly. Yeah, but, it's a little finesse. You got to have the clutch unbolted, slide it out a little bit, tighten your bolts, Once this is tight, slide it back, tighten up the bolts, slide the clutch back, make sure it's still tight, and snug them up finally. But the other thing that I'm having a problem with is right here. The hole, let me try to get the shot. The hole does not line up enough for me to get that bolt in. So it looks like it does on the camera, but it's still hanging over there about 1 millimeter. And anybody knows, 1 millimeter is a make or break. So I have to drill these holes out a little bit, and then I can bolt that in finally. But other than that, other than all those issues, I mean, as of right now, I mean, I maybe have 2 miles on this bike right now. It's just a lot of adjusting. Right now, I'm trying to get the back wheel lined up with this sprocket a little better. You know, just adjustments, a little bit of finesse. I think this bike will be 100% ready. This weekend, I'm going to try to get it out, take it for a ride. So, but other than those things, I mean, it works pretty good. I can't really think of anything else. You can see on this side, I upgraded those also. The stock ones are like an 8.8 G. These are, what are they? JH 10.9 stainless steel bolts. And I actually sheared one off installing this. And this one, it didn't quite strip, but it tore all the threads off. So, I mean, if you are going to build one of these Monster 90 kits, I'm telling you, these have to be changed. There's no way around that. Do it right away. Don't even attempt to install the bike until you go match these bolts up, and also get this while you're at it, because they will not have that certain bolt. I believe this motor is just your typical Predator 79cc Predator motor. It's just got gas bike stamp on it. That's the only difference. So yeah. These Chinese motors, even though I do love a Predator motor, I've never had a problem with them. I built a 212. I have a mini bike with a built 212 on it. And that thing is that's a beast. But I mean, they just use weird threading, weird bolts. But other than that, I will give you an update after I get about maybe 100, 200 miles on it, and see what kind of problems I run into, if any. Hopefully not, but there's always that possibility. So I will let you guys know. I'm about to adjust this crank, line it up with my stock rear sprocket, and actually I notice it's a little bent. That sprocket is. So yeah, I mean, with any of this gas bike stuff, it's not going to be top-notch quality with any of it, but I will let you guys know. Peace.